Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Corner Podcast. I'm so happy to be here with all of you today.
And I'm Richard. It's really great to be here too, Sarah. I have to say, I'm really looking forward to today's episode. We're tackling a topic that is just so crucial for our listeners.
Absolutely, Richard. Today's topic is all about how to speak English more clearly and confidently, not just, in a classroom setting, but in your actual everyday life. Whether you're ordering coffee or you're talking to a colleague or even just meeting new people, these skills are a game changer.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of learners focus on grammar and vocabulary, which of course is totally essential. But the actual delivery of your words, that's what truly makes you sound like a confident speaker. It's the full package.
Right. And, I think a lot of people, myself included sometimes, feel a little bit shy or nervous, and that's completely normal. But the good news is these are skills you can actively practice and improve. It's not just about knowing the words, it's about using them with conviction.
Oh, that's such a great point, Sarah. And we want to make sure you can really put these tips into action. You're not just listening, you're actually doing.
Absolutely. The best way to learn is by doing. So as you're listening today, think about how you can use these ideas in your own conversations. And speaking of new words, we'll be highlighting a few new words and phrases. We'll be breaking them down later on in our Word of the Day segment.
So be sure to stick around for that. All right, Sarah, are you ready to get into it?
Ready as I'll ever be, Richard. Let's get started.
So, Sarah, let's start with something that might seem really simple, but it actually makes a huge difference. And that's your pacing.
Right. This is such a big one. I think when people get nervous or they're just, feeling a little bit unsure, they tend to speak really fast, almost like they're trying to get all the words out before they forget them or before they lose their nerve.
Yeah, exactly. And when you rush, you can easily stumble over your words. Or you might even leave out important sounds, which just makes it so much harder for the listener to understand you. The key is to slow down.
That's it. Take a moment to breathe. A simple pause can make you sound more thoughtful and in control. For example, instead of saying, "I need to go to the store to get milk, eggs, and bread," all in one breath, you could say, "I need to go to the store to get milk, eggs, and bread."
See? That short pause gives the listener a little time to process what you're saying. And it also gives you a moment to kind of gather your thoughts. It's really a win-win, don't you think?
It totally is. And, another trick that I found helpful is to listen to a native speaker you admire. Maybe it's an actor, a news anchor, or even just someone you hear often in your daily life. And pay attention to how they use pauses. It's such a subtle but super powerful technique.
Oh, that's a fantastic suggestion, Sarah. You'll be surprised how much of a difference it makes. And this leads us right into our next tip, too, and that's pronunciation.
Yeah, pronunciation can feel like a really intimidating topic for a lot of learners. It feels like there's so much to get right, but it really doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be clear.
Yeah, exactly. We're definitely not aiming for perfection here. It's just about clarity. And I think a really simple way to improve is to focus on enunciation, which is the act of speaking words clearly. I think a lot of us, we mumble without even realizing it. I know I do sometimes.
Absolutely. And a lot of times a mumbled word is a word that's missing a sound. A great place to start is just with the endings of your words. For example, that ed sound in words like helped or walked. We often just kind of swallow them.
Yeah, or the S sound at the end of plurals, like books and pens. Those small sounds are really important clues for the listener. And a quick exercise you can do at home is to read a paragraph out loud and exaggerate those ending sounds. It might feel a little bit silly, but it really builds muscle memory.
That's such a fantastic suggestion, Richard. You'll be so surprised how much of a difference that makes. And let's not forget about rhythm and intonation. That plays a huge part too.
So, Sarah, I think a lot of English learners often worry about sounding too direct, right? And so what they end up doing is they use a lot of what we call softeners.
Oh, absolutely, Richard. I've heard this so much. Softeners are those phrases like maybe, I think, or just. For example, instead of saying, could you help me with something? Someone might say, I just wanted to ask if maybe you could help me with something. It's very common.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. While it's polite, it can also sound a bit hesitant. It's like you're not entirely sure, or you're not fully committing to what you're saying. A more confident way to say that would be, excuse me, could you please help me with something? It's just much clearer.
Exactly. And this is so important because being direct doesn't mean being rude, not at all. It just means you're not sort of hiding your request or hinting at it. When you speak directly, people know exactly what you need. There's no guesswork involved.
Yeah, and another common one which I hear a lot is when people introduce an idea by saying, this might be a silly question, but, or I'm probably wrong here, but it's like, why apologize for being curious or for having an idea to share? It's just not necessary.
That's such a perfect example of an unnecessary softener. Instead, just ask the question, right? For example, instead of, I was just wondering if maybe you could sort of clarify the deadline for this project, just say, could you clarify the deadline for this project? It's direct, it's professional, it's confident, and it gets the answer you need.
Yeah, I love that. It's just a great way to communicate with authority and clarity. It cuts right to the chase, right? It's about being assertive without being aggressive. It really shifts the perception of your message.
Yeah, and I think it's about trusting that what you have to say is valuable enough to be said clearly. You don't need to beat around the bush or sort of cushion your words so much that they lose their impact. Just go for it.
Totally. Yeah, it also shows confidence in yourself. Like, I know what I want to ask, or I know what I need to say, and I'm just going to say it clearly. And that's really empowering for the speaker, but also for the listener, because they just get it. Like, there's no misunderstanding.
Right. It also speeds up the conversation, too, because you're just getting to the point. It builds respect because people know you're not going to waste their time with unnecessary filler. You're just going to say what you need to say. So be a little bit more direct.
You know, Sarah, that actually brings us to our final point for this section. And it's something that I think a lot of people overlook, but it's really powerful, and that's body language.
Oh, absolutely, Richard. Your body language often speaks louder than your words. Like, you could be saying all the right things, but if your body is telling a different story, it can really undermine your confidence.
Exactly. Like when you're speaking, try to stand up straight, make eye contact, and use appropriate gestures. Like just let your hands sort of emphasize what you're saying rather than being stuck in your pockets or behind your back.
Yeah, and I found that even if you're a little bit nervous on the inside, just standing with good posture can actually make you feel more confident. It's almost like a physical trick that actually works. You kind of fake it till you make it, almost.
It really does. And eye contact is huge. It just shows that you're engaged. You know, you're speaking to the person, not just to the air or just to your notes. It really draws them in.
Exactly. And don't forget to smile. Like, a friendly smile is a great way to put both yourself and the person you're speaking with at ease. It creates a warmer and more approachable atmosphere.
Yeah, and it also conveys openness. It makes you seem more receptive to what the other person is saying, too.
Yeah, so it's really about aligning your nonverbal cues with what you're saying. And when you do that, it's amazing how much more confident and believable you'll appear to others.
So, to recap everything, we've talked about slowing down, focusing on pronunciation, choosing your words wisely, being direct, and using confident body language. These are all practical tips you can start using today.
Absolutely. All right, Richard, before we totally wrap up today, we actually have a great question that came in from one of our listeners. Her name's Emily, and she asks,
What's a good way to practice speaking more confidently if I don't really have a lot of people to practice with?
Aha, that's a fantastic question, Emily. It's something I hear a lot. My first piece of advice would be try the mirror technique. Like, stand in front of a mirror and just talk to your reflection. Practice a short speech or even just a simple conversation. It really helps you see your body language and hear your own voice, which is really powerful.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Richard. And kind of building on that, another tip is to record yourself. Most people have a smartphone these days. You can just use your phone to record your voice while you read a paragraph or just talk about your day. And then listen back to it and try to notice your pace, your pauses, your intonation. It's such a powerful tool for self-improvement because you hear things.
Yeah, that's so true. It's a little bit awkward at first, but it's really effective. So thanks for that question, Emily. We hope those tips help get you started. And now, as promised, it's time for our word of the day. The word we're highlighting today is eloquent.
Ooh, I love that word, eloquent. Richard, can you give us an example or define it a little bit more?
Of course. Eloquent means to be fluent or persuasive in speaking or writing. Like you're able to express yourself clearly and powerfully. For example, you might say, he gave a very eloquent speech about the importance of community. It's a word that captures the idea of speaking well in a way that moves people.
Oh, that's perfect. And that's really what we're all aiming for, right? To be more eloquent in our daily lives and in our conversations.
Exactly. And we hope after today's episode, you feel a little bit more equipped to speak clearly and confidently in your daily life.
That's just about all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us on the English Corner podcast.
Yeah, it's been great. If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with a friend or anyone you think might find this helpful. Your support really helps us create more content just for you.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and most importantly, keep improving.
Bye for now.